Hi, it's day 4 of your complimentary training in the Be Free by 2020 challenge. And of course, by now you know who I am. I'm Carol Hunter, the Money Mender, excited once again to be back with you. You may ask the question, why does she always say she's excited to be with us? Because really, genuinely, I am. I love what I do. I'm super passionate about what I do. And so any opportunity that I get to spend time with you, I just absolutely love it. So I'm so glad that you're still here with this debt-free revolution, and the fact that you've made it past the halfway point and you're still here, again, that speaks volumes about your level of seriousness and commitment. And so we have completed several things up to this point. So on day number 1, if we do a recap, you were given a money reality check, and that put you in touch with your authentic financial truth so that you could really get a snapshot and a clear picture of where you are currently right now in your finances. Then, of course, on day 2, we moved on over to facing your money fears and helping you to acknowledge them and then to create a strategy to overcome them. And then on day 3, we tapped into helping you discover your money DNA, the origin of your money personality, your money behaviors, why you do the things that you do with your money. And so while you are still working on the assignments that are attached to all of those trainings that have gone forth, I understand, and you know all too well now, that those are going to take you some time, but I want you to continue to work on them because that's why they were given to you. Because by the end of this year, the whole goal is for you to be free by 2020 so that you can start a new decade with a whole new money story. So that leads us into day number 4, where we want to talk about shifting your mindset and finding your big why, your big WHY. So that's where we're going to spend our focus today. So I've written down some notes. I'm a teacher, so I've written down a lot of notes for day number 4 because I did not want to forget to tell you anything. So I'll be looking away from the camera from time to time, so hopefully that won't distract you, but I just want to make sure I get it all in and not, have a long drawn out teaching, but if I can just hit those points, hit those nuggets, and keep you on point, because after all, you've got some homework that you need to be working on from the other 3 days. So here we go. So again, your complimentary training, again, is being taught over 5 days. And I just want to throw this in. If you're a millennial and you haven't made too many missteps right now, you're not feeling too much emotion about any of the things that you have received in the last 3 days. However, if you are a little older and you have a family, you have children, you have pets, you have a job, you have a business, you're thinking about retirement, then those first 3 trainings have you feeling some kind of way, especially if you have made some unwise or unhealthy financial decisions along the way or some missteps. So you're feeling totally different from that millennial, that young, vibrant person that's just starting out, just stepping out into the world and making decisions and living on their own. But I have some great news for you. I have some amazing news for you. If you're feeling like it's too late, it'll never happen to me. Me and my husband are not on one accord. Me and my wife argue about money. We got issues in the house. So forget all of that, because regardless of your prior financial decisions, all hope is not lost. Well, Money Mender, how can you say that? Well, I know, because for 31 years, I've been helping people self-correct and restore their finances. And so you can still achieve a lifestyle of debt freedom. You can't, even if you messed up. Remember, I messed up in the very beginning. I messed up, at that time, the term millennials, were not in the picture. But when I was in my 20s, I was making major financial missteps. By the age 37, I had reached millionaire status. So even though I made some horrible mistakes in my early 20s. By my late 20s, I had started a business. By my mid 30s, I was a millionaire, so forth and so on. The rest is history. And now I'm sitting here enjoying what I do, helping you to get past your missteps. So it's going to require some time, some effort, and all of those things. But more importantly, it's going to require a mindset shift. It's going to require that you shift your mindset from how you've been operating to how you need to operate. And that's what I want to focus on in this training for day 4. We want to talk about the mindset shift that needs to happen and connect that to your big why that you need to get in touch with. So, and I say so a lot, but you know, so. But anyway, so we hear the phrase mindset shift frequently. But what does that really mean? And even more so than that, when you hear the term mindset shift, what does that mean to you? I'm going to break it down in elementary terms, and therefore you will have your own understanding and be able to run from this training, understanding what it means to have a mindset shift. A mindset, by definition, is a fixed mental attitude. Your mental attitude, your mind is fixed. So a mindset is a fixed mind or a fixed attitude. And then shift literally means to move from one place to another. So if we're talking about a mindset shift, we're talking about your mindset or your thought process, your attitude needs to move from where it is to another place, another level. It needs to shift. So anytime you hear shift, that means movement. So we're talking about being free by 2020. We're talking about shifting from having too much debt and not enough money to when we move when we move into the next decade. We're talking about shifting our money to a better place, to a greater amount. So that's what we're talking about doing. So a mindset shift, I like to say it like this. It's an act of your will because no one else can make you or coerce you to have a mindset shift. If you want to shift your mindset, then you will shift your mindset. If you don't want to do it, you're not going to. But it's an act of your will to move your mental attitude, because anytime you talk about the mind, you talk about mental. So you're moving your mental attitude from where it is to a different mindset. It's moving. You've got to involve your will to do that. Your will has to get engaged. So you're making a mental shift. Regardless of what has been going on, regardless of how you think about money, regardless of your money DNA, you've decided to make a mental shift regarding money, because that's what we're talking about. You're saying, I want to change my mind about how I manage, how I spend, how I shop, how I save, how I invest, or even how I waste money. You're saying, I want to change. I don't want to waste money the way in which I've wasted money up until this point. By the time I reach this next decade, by 2020, I want to be in a really good place with my money. And this, my friend, is easier said than done. It's easier said than done, but I can help you make the shift easier. It doesn't have to be hard. When you decide to make a financial mindset shift, there should always be a why attached to your decision. Because when there's a why attached to your decision, then the purpose is greater. When your why is a financial goal, because we're talking about being free by 2020, so we're talking about a financial goal. So when your big why is a financial goal, it must be big enough, significant enough, to the point that it'll keep you focused. If your why isn't big enough, you're going to go for a little while and then you're going to fall away because your why is not keeping you connected. It's not strong enough. It's not intensifying what you need to do. And so it makes it easier for you to fall away and resort back to what you were doing before you decided to be a part of the Be Free Challenge. So you want to make sure that your why is huge, because when you have a huge why, then you're going to stay focused. Remember in day 3 when I talked about one of my, I think it was day number, it was 2 or 3. Anyway, I talked about when I get fearful thoughts about money, it's because my family has a really long lifespan, living to be about 100, and I'm only 58. So that means, if I live another 42 years, I want my retirement wealth to be at a really high level. That's my preference. And so that's a why for me. That's a huge why. That's a huge why to say, I have potentially 42 more years of life left. So the things and the decisions that I make about my money and my wealth are very much connected to my why, because I'm at an age where I'm starting to think about those things. When I was in my 30s, I didn't think about that the way that I think about it right now, okay? So let me give you 3 examples, 3 great examples to help you tap into your why. And I want to give you 3 examples from the perspective of a millennial, a Gen Xer, and a baby boomer. And so those are terms that we give to certain age groups, like your millennials are your 20-somethings, your Gen Xers are your late 30s into your 40s, and then of course your baby boomers somewhere over in the 50s and higher. So let's say you are a millennial and you want to cancel debt so you can save for a home. Well, that's your big why. That's your big why. So as it relates to the Be Free by 2020 challenge, you're wanting to free up money because you're ready to buy a house. And so how are you going to make that happen? Well, you're not going to allow your peer pressure to cause you to engage in spontaneous spending. Because at that age, it's easy to be influenced by your friends, but you're going to move away from that. You're going to reduce your eating out and eat at home, learning how to cook or be creative, taking your lunch, things like that, so that you won't have to spend so much money going out, and you can put more money into what you're trying to do and accomplish. And at this point, you may also consider adding a part-time work. It just depends on how much debt you have, how far you are behind the 8 ball, how fast you want this thing to happen. So as a millennial, those are some things. See, your why is I want to save money so that I can buy my first home. That's a big why, because you want to be a homeowner. So that means that you need some money in order to be able to do that, because there's the down payment, there's the inspection fees, there's any rehab that you may want to do once you move in if you don't buy a brand new house, so forth and so on. Number 2 would be for the Gen Xers. So you're a Gen Xer, you're at a point in your life where you need a larger home. You already have a home, but your family has increased since you bought your first home. So you need a larger home, or perhaps you need an additional car, or you're thinking about how you're going to pay for educational expenses for your children. And so now, how are you going to add this extra money? Well, of course, you're going to be free by 2020. And therefore, you're freeing up money so you can start a business, or you can invest in real estate. Or if you're a person that doesn't want to start a business or invest in real estate or something else, then you may want to seek a higher paying job. Oftentimes, higher paying job means longer hours at the office, more stress, more people to manage. So you got to weigh that. You weigh, can I stay in my current position, start a small business so I can work myself on out of the workforce if that's who you are. I have the type of personality that I do much better as an entrepreneur. I love having my time freedom, money freedom. I like to work at whatever time of the day I like to work. I don't want to have to be in the office at a certain time. If today I want to work in my pajamas all day, that's just who I am, how I am. We're all wired differently. So you do you, whatever makes you happy. But I'm just trying to give you examples of having a bigger why. So if you're a Gen Xer, your big why is we've outgrown this house, it's too small. We're all packed up in here like sardines. We need an extra bathroom because the children are getting older, and I have a son and a daughter, and they're getting in that age now where there needs to be more separation between the two of them. So that's just where we are. Now let's say you are a baby boomer and you're trying to attach your big why. Well, yours of course is going to be paying off a mortgage or increasing your retirement wealth. And let me just interject this. Don't ever feel like you can't pay off a mortgage. I've paid off mortgages. I paid off personal mortgage, paid off real estate mortgage for properties that I own. With my first, this was probably my second or third house. By age 40, it was a really large, expensive home that of course I got for a really great deal because of my knowledge of real estate investing. But I was able to pay off this home by age 40, no personal home debt, none, totally debt free. So, prior to that, everything else was already paid off. Don't tell me you can't drive a debt free car. Yes, you can. You just decide when you're ready to pay off that car, you will pay off that car. You don't have to be in debt for the rest of your life. I'm telling you, I'm a living witness. I was debt free at a very young age, and I am going to stay debt free because not only because I'm the money mender, but because I love money freedom. And money freedom gives you choices. That's what money freedom does. It gives you the power to choose. So if you're a baby boomer, well, how are you going to pay off your mortgage? Well, first of all, you need to get an amortization schedule. That's a schedule of your payments over the life of that loan. And what it will show you on the amortization schedule is with each payment, how much of that is actually going towards the principal to pay the loan down and how much of it is going towards interest to make the bank richer. For the first 10 years of a 30-year mortgage, you're always paying the bank. You're doing nothing but paying interest. So if you're in a position where you don't have to do a 30-year loan and you can do a 15-year loan or less, that's amazing. Or you can have a 30-year loan, but make extra payments throughout the year on that loan, so you're still paying it down. You've got your payment set where you want it, but then you're making extra principal payments, and that will still pay down the loan. So the baby boomer wants to increase those mortgage payments because that baby boomer does not want to take a house mortgage into their retirement years. So let's say living in the United States, your mortgage is $1,000. Well, if you pay that off before you leave the workforce, that's $1,000 that does not have to come out of your retirement wealth because typically your working income, your income that is subject to taxes, it decreases or totally goes away when you leave the workforce. And so you're now living off of other sources of income. And depending on what country you live in, it's all different in terms of what your retirement wealth is going to be from your state or your country. So hopefully these examples raised an awareness about the importance of your participation in the Be Free by 2020 program, because what I was trying to convey to you is how important it is for you to be in touch with your big why. You need to know what that is, and becoming debt free by 2020 requires a mindset shift. You've got to have a mindset shift because you are changing your mental attitude about debt and money. Up until now, you were perfectly okay doing whatever you've been doing with debt and not having the level of money that you want. But by joining this challenge, you are saying, wait a minute, I'm shifting my mindset. I'm shifting my mental attitude. I'm moving from where I was before I started this challenge, and I'm moving in the direction and flowing in the direction of where I really want to be. So your big why for eliminating debt is attached to another big why. Let me say that again. Your big why for eliminating debt is attached to another big why, such as freeing up money to eliminate debt, to purchase a home, to pay off a house, to increase your retirement wealth, and etc., etc., etc. What I'm going to say to you is find your big why. Identify it. Find your big why. And becoming debt-free by 2020 will all of a sudden become a high priority that keeps you focused and intentional. If you are doing this challenge without having a why, you are not going to stay in it for the entire year. So you've got to establish your why. You've got to establish your why. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're with me, you must establish your why. Why is that? Because knowing your why, you want to be, you got to know why you want to be debt free. And that enhances your money clarity. It enhances your clarity. When you know why, then you are clear. Clarity means to be clear, to be able to see, to be able to hear, to be able to understand. So you want to make sure that you are clear on all of your goals, your objectives, all of that. All of this is flowing together. Imagine how much more powerful and peaceful your life will be with money clarity versus the stress that is attached to excessive debt or inadequate financial resources. You know there's a difference between the two. There's no comparison. With you having freedom versus stress and bondage, you can't not compare the two. So I believe you are ready for a financial mindset shift. And here's why I know that. Here's why I know that. You joined my Be Free by 2020 challenge. And what that says is I want change. I don't want my money to remain the same. I have an opportunity to have a whole new money system, strategy, mindset before this new decade comes in. And the fact that you have committed to 4 days of training speaks volumes about where you are in terms of your decision and your level of readiness to move and to shift with this Be Free by 2020 challenge. So you've gotten off to an amazing start. You really have. You have done great. And as you continue to work through the first 3 assignments that are attached to your money, reality check, your facing your fears, and discovering the origin of your money DNA, then money clarity will become clearer and it will begin to manifest for you. And as your money clarity increases, I want you to be intentional about your big why. I want you to make sure that you're very clear about it, and then ask these 3 questions of yourself as you continue to work through these things. So the first one is, why do you want to be debt free by 2020? Why do you want to be free? That's your big why. That's part of your big why right there. Well, why do you want to be debt free by 2020 in the first place? And again, even if you cannot cancel every single debt that you have by 2020, whatever amount you can cancel, why do you want to cancel that amount of debt to be freer by the year 2020? Followed by the second question is, what will you use the repurposed money for? So you're going to repurpose the money. We're not getting free by 2020 to waste money. We want to repurpose money, attach it to our big why, and move our lives in a different direction so that our money can present itself differently in our lives. We're removing all the stressors and the bondage and all that goes with not having money freedom. And then the third question that you want to ask yourself is, how much debt will you eliminate by 2020? These are huge, amazing components of your big why, but all of this again is going to require a money mindset shift. There must be a shift. If you choose not to shift, then at the end of this year, going into the year 2020, you will be in the same position posture. So shift your mindset in the direction. Shift your mindset in the direction of your why. Shift your mindset in the direction of your why. That's why you got to answer those 3 questions. And this will change the entire trajectory of your life. If you want to change that, then shift your mindset in the direction of your why. So I want to share something with you, 2 things that I always say to my mentees. I tell them this all the time, and I want to say it to you, and you'll probably hear me say it a whole bunch of times this year, but it's never too early or too late for a financial mindset shift. You can never start too early. So even if you're a millennial, it's not too early. If you're a baby boomer, it's not too late. It's never too early or too late to shift your mindset, or to shift your money mindset, or to shift your thoughts about how you manage money, spend money, invest money. It's never too late. And then again, doing something is always better than doing nothing at all. I'm here to tell you, I know 3 decades into this, I know what I'm talking about. I'm more than qualified, capable, and able to lead you to your debt-free place. And that's exactly what I plan to do. So continue to enjoy the journey as you work through these trainings, applying the knowledge, setting up your system that's going to lead you into your debt-free by 2020 happiness, and ultimately to your wealthy place. And so it has been a pleasure, as always, to spend some time pushing you to the next level, challenging you to think about your money journey up to this point and the one that you are setting in motion. So I am yours truly, Carol Hunter, the Money Mender, and I look forward to joining you again on day 5. So you have an amazing day. Thank you.